To the Mideast now, and the fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas with new protests in Jerusalem and Gaza. ABC's Matt Gutman is in Gaza with the latest this morning.
Hey, good morning, Eva. So far, that ceasefire is holding for the third day. Here in Gaza, the cleanup has begun in earnest. You can see all that debris being dumped from that building. Now, that was not actually the building targeted here. This is that building. It's the Hanadi building, 15 stories. We're told that there were 2 Hamas political offices somewhere inside there. Israeli airstrikes completely demolishing this building and the one next to it. Now, overnight in East Jerusalem, clashes again between Israeli police forces and Palestinian protesters right outside that contested neighborhood of Sheikh Jarrah. Stun grenades lobbed by Israeli police. Now, this is a neighborhood where 6 Palestinians face possible eviction. It was one of the triggers for this conflict. Still, it is holding this truce, and today and yesterday, convoys of trucks coming in carrying aid to Palestinians. There have been dozens of those. Now, because it has been quiet for the first time since the conflict began, Hamas and its militants out in force here in Gaza, brandishing weapons, marching through the streets in those convoys with martial music in the background. But still, we are very carefully minded in what we're able to see here. Earlier today, we tried to go see one of the tunnel networks that Israeli airstrikes took out. 9 Palestinian special forces from Hamas, they were called, were killed in there. And as soon as we got out of the car, we were told we had to leave the area. Now, Egyptian mediators back here in Gaza today, and Secretary of State Blinken will be here midweek. He'll be talking to Israelis, Palestinians, Egyptians, but he will not be speaking with Hamas. Guys.
Matt Gutman on the ground for us once again. Matt, thank you. For much more on this, let's bring in ABC News political director Rick Klein. Rick, good morning. As you know, the Biden administration has really tried to exercise quiet diplomacy here. But given that the situation is still delicate and that the fundamental issues really have not been resolved, do you think the U.S. might have to lean in a more robust way?
Yeah, Dan, the question is, does quiet diplomacy work in an increasingly noisy and messy world? And this episode has revealed some pretty stubborn truths about the Middle East to the Biden administration, how little it takes for tensions to turn into outright violence, how difficult it is to end that violence, and the changed political situation back home. There's a lot more support inside Biden's own Democratic Party for the Palestinian people, a lot more pressure on the Biden administration to deliver humanitarian aid at the very least and to try to temper the Israelis. And all of this is going to be wrapped up in the Biden administration's attempt to get that Iran deal back. The Israelis have always been skeptical of that, and we know about Iran's backing of Hamas. This is a very difficult situation and is going to press Biden in some new ways. Right now, he doesn't even have an ambassador to Israel named.
He would like to instead focus more on China and climate, but he keeps getting pulled back into the Middle East. Let's talk, though, about domestic politics for a moment. The White House has set a Memorial Day deadline for bipartisan deals on infrastructure and police reform. After that, they say the Democrats are just going to go it alone. So do you think there's any real hope here for compromise across the aisle on either of these big issues?
Those windows are closing and closing fast. Right now, the two sides are more than $1 trillion apart when it comes to infrastructure. There will be some additional meetings on both of these issues, both police reform and infrastructure, over the next couple of days and through the Memorial Day holiday. Those deadlines are definitely not going to be met. There's not even a question about that. And in some ways, Democrats feel like this clock has been ticking back to the Obama years. They feel like Democrats have been making a mistake for more than a decade of hoping and praying for Republican support when it's just not going to be there. So you're going to see more pressure on Biden to pull up stakes in all of these negotiations and decide what can we do on our own. So they haven't given up hope yet, but it is not looking great for that big gamble that Biden had at the beginning of his presidency about getting Republicans to work with him.
As you said, the window is closing fast. Rick Klein, thank you very much. Great to have you with us on a Sunday morning. One quick programming note here. Check out This Week later this morning. George Stephanopoulos will go one-on-one with Republican Senator Susan Collins about the ongoing infrastructure negotiations. Plus, he's going to speak with the Secretary of State Anthony Blinken about the Israel-Hamas situation. That's coming up later this morning right here on ABC.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.